Hi, this is Billie Beene here with another segment of Truth by Billie Beene Special Report. Today's date, 11/16/2022. New. This is my third YouTube channel. I have a subscribe button in the lower right corner of my screen. Thanks for like, subscribe, and share. Episode 463. Some of my sources are God in the Bible, Patriot Subscriber. Recommend a song by Zach Williams. Israeli News Live, Off-Grid Desert Farming, a website, Yahoo News, Steve Quayle's site, Hal Turner, InfoWars, and YouTube, New Atlas. Okay, Ukraine shells Poland. We know they've been trying, NATO was trying to get World War III going for sure. Russia shells Ukraine. FTX was okayed by an SEC dad whose daughter is right at the head of FTC. Can we make this stuff up? No, we can't. Okay, so let's get started with news from around the United States and around the world that has an impact on what's going on in the world. We know that last night in Florida, in Mar-a-Lago, we had an announcement from President Trump, and he was at Mar-a-Lago in Florida. Now, Werx had advised us earlier in the day that there was a planes circling over Florida, Mar-a-Lago, right where President Trump was, and Mikey said it's the type of flight, no-fly zone that you put in place for the President of the United States. So, President Trump had this big announcement. He's going to run in 2024. Well, that's great. What's he going to do for the rest of this time from now? And we understand that according to the Constitution, if he waits until January 21 of 2023, that, this happens and that happens, he could take over the current presidency and then also run in 2024. So we say, bring it. We're open. The current shadow government has us on the brink of World War III with nukes and everything. Okay. And we had this great news coming out from Texas that Governor Abbott has taken steps to secure the southern border. Oh, hey. Do we believe there's more than cartels and drugs coming over that southern border? I mean, we are in a position of this alleged NATO shadow situation, wanting to get World War III going. I think it's a good idea to secure the southern border. Now, Governor Abbott has invoked the invasion clause that's written into the U.S. and the Texas Constitution. And he's put in place National Guard, DPS, gunboats. We say bring it. And is designating the cartels as terrorists and building a wall. We say bring it. We want that. We are a nation without borders is not a nation. That's a free-for-all. I had a Patriot subscriber said when she was standing in line to vote recently in California, this group had green cards. They're foreigners from Europe, and that was their visa little card. And the lady said, sure, come on up. You can vote. Really? Last time I checked our Constitution, you had to be an American citizen to vote. So That was California. That's going on. Okay, we have this now. FTX, that was that crypto group that took all the U.S. taxpayer money from you and I and took it to Ukraine, to the FTX to wash the money and then bring it back to the Dems and the Rhino Republicans. They needed money to, my analogy was comparing it to baseball and stealing bases. You need a lot of money for that. And then after the November 8th, the CEO resigned and then declared FTX bankrupt, which I understand. Bull Pony, a doctor turned economist, medical doctor turned economist, had predicted a huge fall in the market, cliff highs, web bots, and Bix Weir, another economist. But a lot of economists have seen this coming, and now it's overlapping into the other crypto businesses. But Alex Jones with InfoWars is bringing this out, that the CEO, his wife, was the daughter of a former head of the SEC. That's a high U.S. government group that oversees the stock market. And that individual okayed FTX being set up. And it was set up to bring in money and wash money from both Ukraine and the United States. So that's been going on. And Israeli News Live, Stephen Benoon, formerly with the CIA, now is the ministry, but regularly gets updates from the Pentagon, has brought this out. FTX was also involved in the coup that took place in Ukraine in 2014, orchestrated by the shadow U.S. government, Victoria Nuland, a shadow part of the U.S. State Department. I had information from a Patriot subscriber. Yeah, in 2014, when they came in, the U.S. shadow government came in and deposed, took out of place the democratically elected president of Ukraine and put their puppet in, that Victoria Nuland passed out cookies in front of the administrative building in Kiev, Ukraine, while snipers stood on the building to shoot down the Ukraine citizens who were protesting. And about 2 or 3 days later, the prophet Kim Clement came through, and his part of his video, his guide said, yeah, if you'd been here a few days ago, you would have seen the snipers on the roof here. Okay. And they also are engaged with this shadow group, NATO, who since 2014, inside Ukraine, they founded, they trained, and they paid for the troops. And also this group, Azov, a paramilitary group inside Ukraine that actively practices the philosophy of World War II and wears their symbols, has the same salute. And when they capture a Russian soldier, they torture and crucify them because they're certainly anti-American, but they're anti-Christ. So that's been going on, paid for with our tax dollars. Little did we know, we're just beginning to find out about the evil that's been in place in our government. Well, I don't know if that's true, because when you have 100 million people in a nation organized into militias, I would say that nation knows a lot. Yeah, that's been going on. Okay. Now we have this situation inside Ukraine where this is Luhansk, Donetsk, Kherson, Zaporizhzhia. These parts had become part of Russia from Ukraine because since 2014, NATO went in, trained up and raised up this Azov group, and had been actively shelling and killing civilians all in this area because based on their genetics, they were Ukraine citizens, but they were Slavic, Russian-speaking people. Now, little did the Ukraine military understand that part of the deep state's objectives in this ongoing situation in Ukraine is to destroy the economy of the U.S., destroy the economy of Germany and all of Europe, and to annihilate the genetic lines of both the Ukraine genetic line that speaks the Ukraine language and the Ukraine citizens who are Slavic and speak Russian. So yeah, that's going on. Now, so we had this incident yesterday, 11:15, where from the Caspian Sea and the Black Sea, Russia launched 100 missiles, and they hit different locations, including Kiev and Lviv. Now, it had come out, and some were alleging that 2 missiles had gone into Poland, right on the border, and had killed 2 people. Well, that's being clarified. That wasn't a Russian missile. It was a Ukraine missile. And it was an attempt by NATO to get World War III going. So, no, that didn't work. So they were firing from the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea from frigates and cruise ships, and a distance of 100 to 150 kilometers, which is 62 to 93 miles. So that went on yesterday in a harsh snowstorm, we understand, with 2 inches of snow on the ground. And we have these details from Hal Turner. They were also firing, with planes. They had 4 Tu-95s, 4 Tu-160s. And they did hit this little village and kill 2 people, but those were Ukraine missiles. We have some details on that they were a type of missile that Ukraine had been using called 5V55 launched AD. This has been identified as a Ukraine missile. So I guess NATO was going to use this barrage of Russian shelling to cover them sending these 2 missiles into Poland to crank up that World War III. Well, it's good to remember who is in charge. That would be God, and that did not happen. Oh, have you heard the song No Longer a Slave by Zach Williams? I'll link that for you. It's beautiful, and it's good to remember who is in charge. That would be God, and He is on the move. I love you, and I'll see you soon.